You're not going to believe what we've got today. So get comfortable, hit that like button, and let's get into it. Because in Foxborough, one small detail just turned into a massive warning sign, and somebody in that locker room is going to have to answer for it. There's a quiet reinforcement on the way. There's a veteran changing the tone of this defense. There's a rookie at the most overlooked position in football becoming a national favorite. And there's one Vrabel quote that has the whole fan base talking. I've got one question for you right now. Are we about to watch this team tighten up and get nasty, or start slipping at the worst possible time? That loss wasn't just an L on the schedule. It was the kind that stings because of when it happened and what it exposed. Coming off the bye, the vibe was simple. A rested team, Vrabel with extra prep time, and the Patriots controlling the game. For a while, it looked exactly like that. But when you're up 24-7 at halftime and you still let it slip away, you can't just shrug and call it one bad day. Something bigger is going on. And honestly, what bothered me most wasn't only the collapse, it was what the collapse revealed. Yes, the Patriots still control their AFC East destiny, but it just got a lot more dangerous. The margin for error got thinner. And when your defense starts leaking, especially against the run, the problem snowballs fast. The defensive line missed tackles at a rate we hadn't seen since week 3, and that dumped the entire burden on the linebacker group. Then you get the same ugly script. Runs gashing you, second and short all day, play action popping, and suddenly the opponent is comfortable. You can feel the pressure build, and you can feel the crowd go from confident to nervous. So what happened next matters, because the first real response after that gut punch was a move that flew under the radar, but could change the chessboard. The Patriots signed linebacker Chad Muma off the Colts practice squad. Before you roll your eyes, hang on. Muma was a third-round pick in 2022. He spent 3 years with the Jaguars, and if he got buried on depth charts, it was more about stacked linebacker rooms than a lack of ability. In Indianapolis, it was the same story, stuck behind a strong duo. Now connect the dots. Why did Robert Spillane sit despite being active? Fans are still trying to understand that. And with Jack Gibbons having a rough day, Muma might be more than an emergency body. He could be a message from Vrabel. He could be insurance if Spillane's situation worsens. Or he could simply be a stabilizer, someone who helps keep this room afloat alongside Christian Ellis while the front gets its discipline back. Because with Milton Williams already out and Christian Barmore not playing his best football, you can't pretend the middle of this defense is in a comfortable place. And the number that screams is this. New England used to be one of the league's best run defenses. Now they've allowed 100-plus rushing yards in 5 straight games. Against Buffalo, they gave up 168, a season high. That's not bad luck. That's a trend. So here's the real question. Is Muma the first adjustment that saves December, or just a bandage before the next scare? Here's why it feels so tense. New England doesn't have the luxury of, we'll clean it up later. These final regular season games are against desperate teams. And when your run fits are a half step late or your tackling gets sloppy, you don't just give up yards, you give up time, momentum, and you keep your own offense watching from the sideline. That's how a 24-7 lead turns into a fourth quarter nightmare. And that's why I'm not brushing off the Muma signing as noise. In December, depth becomes destiny. One missed tackle becomes a first down, one extra first down becomes a 7-minute drive, and suddenly you're begging for a stop. And while everyone's still replaying that second half, there's also a reason this team is still dangerous come January. Even when the defense bends, somebody is still delivering exactly what he was paid to do, and it's not an accident. It's Vrabel putting his fingerprint on the roster. Harold Landry didn't arrive with fireworks. He arrived with skepticism. Some fans called it too expensive, others worried about the knee history, and plenty labeled him a solid vet, nothing more. But week after week, he's been proving that label wrong. He's at 8.5 sacks through 14 games, with a sack in each of the last 3. He's the team's sack leader, sitting 2 ahead of Clavon Chaisson. And it's not just production, it's timing. He shows up when the game starts getting hot. And this is where Landry really matters. When he's winning one-on-one, your coverage can be aggressive, your rush can stay disciplined, and you get off the field. When he's not, you're forced to gamble. You start living on pressure looks, and you're asking your secondary to survive on an island. That chess match is coming fast. It makes perfect sense when you remember the connection. Landry was Vrabel's second-round pick in Tennessee. The coach knows exactly how to use him, when to widen him out, when to dial up movement, when to let him hunt. Yes, he's been streaky at points, but offenses still have to account for him, and that changes quarterback reads, speeds up throws, and helps everyone else up front. That 3-year deal at $14.5 million per year ranks him around 25th among edge defenders by annual value. In other words, he's not being paid like a superstar, but he's giving you impact comparable to guys making more. Some of those sacks came against shaky lines, sure, but he also showed up against the Bills when this defense desperately needed a jolt. And there's another piece fans can't ignore: leadership. Landry is a captain, a steady voice, a reliable presence. And if New England ends up hunting for a first-round edge rusher in the next draft, having a guy like that in the room is huge. He doesn't have to be the guy forever. He has to be the bridge, and right now, he's doing that job. But the story takes a wild turn, because not every game-changing impact comes with sacks or touchdowns. Sometimes it comes from the quietest job in the stadium, the job you only notice when it goes wrong. Except it hasn't gone wrong. Not once. And now the whole league is noticing. Everyone expected Drake May to be a top Pro Bowl vote-getter. No shock there. MVP-level buzz, face of the franchise, primetime moments. Of course he's getting votes. But there's another young Patriot near the top that tells you something deeper about the Patriot way. Rookie long snapper Julian Ashby is leading AFC long snappers in Pro Bowl voting. Yes, long snapper. He was the 251st pick, a 7th rounder. A name most people forgot as soon as draft weekend ended. And what did he do? He dressed for all 14 games. He hasn't missed a single special team snap. He's been on the field for every one of the team's 42 extra points and 27 field goals. No drama, no panic, no, what was that snap? Moments. That's real excellence in the NFL. And it hits even harder when you remember the Patriots released longtime snapper Joe Cardona this past offseason. That wasn't just paperwork, it was a gamble. Stability out, a rookie in, and the gamble has paid off. Ashby didn't just hold the line, he became part of the foundation. Special teams decide tight games. A bad snap can end a playoff run. A clean operation can steal wins in December. It's not just Ashby either. Other Patriots showing up near the top in voting include Hunter Henry, Garrett Bradbury, Harold Landry, Marcus Jones, Jalen Hawkins, kicker Andy Borregales, and Brendan Schooler. That's the roster getting recognized across offense, defense, and special teams. Fan voting for the 2026 Pro Bowl games closes this week, and the players who come out on top are headed to Santa Clara after the regular season. But then came the spark that turned frustration into real anger, because losing hurts. Losing while feeling like the field wasn't level hurts more. And Mike Vrabel, in classic Vrabel fashion, didn't pretend everything was fine. The day after the game, on the Greg Hill Show, Vrabel said he knows officiating is hard, but consistency is where he struggles. Then he dropped the line that set off Patriots fans everywhere. The Bills came into the game leading the NFL in offensive holding and didn't get called for one hold. Not one. Vrabel's point was simple. If it's there, throw the flag. And that poured gasoline on what everyone saw in the second half. Josh Allen extending plays, lanes opening, and moments where it felt like a jersey tug didn't matter. Add in the fact Buffalo scored touchdowns on 5 straight drives, and the sense of, how is that possible, gets louder fast. Vrabel also addressed the pass interference call that wiped out a Marcus Jones interception in the fourth quarter. He didn't scream robbery, but he made it clear, if you're not playing the football, the margin for error gets tiny. Translation: the refs made their decision, and they made it quickly. Now here's the grown-up truth. Vrabel hinted at it too. If you go up by 17, you can't put the game in the officials' hands. The defense didn't execute. The offense slowed down. The details slipped. That's what lost the game. But that doesn't erase the feeling in Foxborough. Games like this shape seasons. They build narratives. They create an edge. And on the officiating talk, be honest. When Vrabel brought up the Bills leading the league in holds, half the fan base nodded like, finally. The other half said, stop complaining and fix it. Both can be true. Demand consistency and demand better execution. So what happens now? Do the Patriots let this shake them? Or does it unite the locker room and turn into fuel? Because this is the kind of day that defines a team. A loss that exposed problems, brought in a potential reinforcement, confirmed a veteran's value, highlighted culture through a rookie nobody saw coming, and ended with Vrabel basically daring the league to be consistent. Now it's all about the response. Was this just a stumble or the turning point? Drop your take in the comments. Do you think the Patriots were outplayed, outcalled, or both? Hit like if you're riding with this team, subscribe if you want Patriots news every day, and join us every day as we track every move, every rumor, and every adjustment all the way to the finish line.